Nelson Soapery. Today I'm coming to you from my studio in Melbourne, Australia to show you exactly how I'm going to be making this new artesian soap. As many of you know, I love making artesian soap. I spend many hours perfecting the soap dough and exactly how I'm going to be making it for my clients. So to start with, I'm going to be making this beautiful soap which is called Garden Gate, and that's a part of my new collection, which is my adventure collection, which is anything make-believe. So I'm going to be starting making little baby pumpkins out of soap dough, which I have already started prior to doing this, so I'll give you a sneak peek. So this is my tiny baby little pumpkins that I've made out of soap dough, and then of course I will be painting them up like this to make them look a bit gorgeous. And then I'll also have a little fairy gate. So the whole idea is my fairy is going into her garden that is growing beautiful pumpkins. So it is really that totally gorgeous kind of soap that we all believe as a child. And it all started from this. So this is a pumpkin that was given to me from my husband's friend at work. And I thought, doesn't this look like a Cinderella make-believe kind of pumpkin? Like it even has this rounded stalk. And I just think it's so cute. I loved it. Anyway, so that's what my whole idea for this soap. So this soap is going to be a long one, so hopefully you've got your chair, get your cup of tea or coffee, and you can watch me as we go along. And I do want to say a big thank you for lots of people that always comment on my YouTubes, and they spend the time to do it. Especially a big thank you to Evelyn. She is so lovely, and she always sends the most beautiful comments and messages them to me through YouTube, which thank you, Evelyn. That is really nice, and that support just keeps us going, because this is a baby channel and hopefully we can keep growing as a tutorial to help you guys all out. I will pop in the recipe as per usual and the instructions and all of the items that I'm using to help you guys out. Just to let you know, most of my micas are from a company called Sud Off. I'm not paid at all by any of these companies to say, you know, what I'm selling or what I'm doing or how I'm making it. They don't do anything like that. I just simply give you some ideas of companies I know that I like, and I know their products are amazing. So anyway, let's get making this beautiful soap, and I'm sure you are going to absolutely adore it just like me. All right, let's go.
So let's start. Now we're going to be starting with the soap dough. So first of all, to make soap dough, you need to make a mixture of your soap and just leave out the sodium lactate. That's the main way to make some soap dough. I will leave the recipe for you as well in the bottom. This has been made a couple weeks in advance, this one here. I often just make soap dough, and if I have any spare pieces, I just keep them aside and wrap them up and keep them airtight, and that way they're fine to last quite some months. So all I'm going to do is, you just literally squish it in your hands. Your hands will make it warm and soft, and it needs to be soft so that you can make products. So I'm literally just making little baby circles with this, and this will actually make our pumpkin. So it's not hard at all. It's literally just a circle. You just press your finger to press it down a little bit, and then this will actually make your pumpkin. I did get the idea from these pumpkins from another lady online. I think it might be Sorcery Soap, but I can't quite remember, but I think that's where I seen it. And anyway, and that was the idea for the start of my pumpkins. But then, of course, I have altered everything else. So it's just a little pumpkin that I seen the idea and thought, oh, well, that's a really clever way to make these pumpkins. But anyway, from here, I'll just keep on going and making them. And hopefully this helps everyone so that you can start making them. So to start with, we actually need to define our pumpkin, because obviously it was just a circle before, and each pumpkin does have these like grooves on the side, which really defines the character of the pumpkin. So all I'm doing is I've just got these little kebab stick. You can buy these in bags from your local supermarket, and then I'm just literally going along the edge just to kind of put that groove into them. You could probably also use the side of a knife or something like that, just something thin so that you can get the grooves of the pumpkin. So I go right around the outside, and then I actually go on the very top of it as well to add grooves, because the top does also add the grooves. And then what we're going to be doing is poking a hole into each one, and we're going to make a stem with this extruder. So what you can see me using now is called an extruder tool, and all it is you literally put some soap dough inside the little cavity of it, and then you're just going to turn the handle, and the handle will actually push out whatever shape is at the end. So I will actually show you a little bit later exactly how I'm doing it, because it kind of needs quite a bit of instruction to be able to do that, to be honest. And then with these little pumpkins, you can see I'm just popping a hole in with this little tool, and then all I'm doing here is popping a tiny bit of water, because the water will actually hold the soap dough together. Without it, it may just fall out, and to be honest, sometimes they do fall out. So if they do, just put a little bit of fresh soap in them, and that will sort of use as a super glue almost to glue them together. And like I said, you can see me going around the edge here to make sure that I'm putting in all the grooves to add real character to these pumpkins to make them look more realistic. So we've finished adding all the character into the pumpkins, and they're just sitting here, and they have been drying for a day at this stage. And now all I'm going to be doing is mixing up some isopropyl and some micas, and that way I can just literally paint a little bit into the side of the pumpkins, because the pumpkins will look pretty boring if they didn't have any colour or character. So usually in those grooves of the pumpkins you would actually sort of see like some sort of shadow, but because mine is for like a fairy garden, I wanted them to have a bit of colour. So I'm actually using two different micas. One of them is a forest green from Sud Off, and the other one is called coffee mica, and that is from Aussie Candles. And they both have a really beautiful shimmer. So it's really just 1 tablespoon of isopropyl to 1 teaspoon of mica. But if you don't sort of like that, or you want it thicker, just add a little bit more mica each time. You really don't need a lot at all. So it's you really 50 of one to one of the other sort of thing, you know. So 50% of one product to 100% of the other, but you know what I mean, just as I've explained. So we'll get all little pumpkins ready here, and then we'll get some paintbrushes and we'll start to get them all ready. So now I'm just going to be grabbing my little pumpkin and start to go down. So don't make it too thick, just try and make it really light on the inside, because you don't want the colour to be too heavy and come off. So it's basically just a little colour down the side of each pumpkin. So what I've decided to do is the outside I'm going to be putting this darker sort of green, because that would be the pumpkin sort of colour. And then I will do the same on the top. But on the top, I'm going to miss every second one in green, and then just add this little coppery kind of, it's a copper sort of browny gold, I guess, sort of colour on the top, and then that will make them look really beautiful. If you want, after you've done this, you can get a thicker paintbrush and just go over the edge with a dry paintbrush, and it will just remove any extra mica if you've made any mistakes or anything like that. If the top little stem comes off, which it did with me, then all you can do is just, like I said, pop it back in and go from there. So once you pop it in the soap will hold everything together. But they do look really, really cute. So I'll let you watch me here, just painting them all together and getting them ready for the next step of the soap. So now we have already done our little pumpkins here. So we have made these in the last bit, and I will get painting them. Like I said, I have started to paint them here, as you can see. But now the next bit we're going to be doing is using some soap dough, which I've got here in green, which is what I used on the top of these little ones here. And I'm just going to mush it in my hands to make it nice and soft and pliable. Do remember that soap dough needs to have its little curing time as well. So on this soap dough here, this has been setting for several days. So don't use it before it's been at least 2 or 3 days. It does need to take time. And you can see it's not sticking to my hands at all. It's quite good. So, and that's when you know it's good. We're just going to roll it into a ball. And then we're going to be using this tool that's called an extruder tool. So the whole idea about this tool is, you know, you're literally just going to be putting your soap dough in the end in here, and then you're going to push it out of this end with its little, you know, like its little silver little piece that I'm going to add into it. I don't know what you call it actually. So this is the little silver piece, if you can see here. It's very tiny, I know. We just pop it into here. This is only a cheap one too. You can get really expensive ones, but mine's just a cheapy one. I can't afford one of those big ones. So, and then we just tie that onto here, so you can see now that's what that looks like. And then we're going to roll this into a bit of a sausage so that it goes into the end. And then this is going to become my vine for my pumpkin. So then we just slide it into the end here, push it in. And then we're just going to be popping this bit in here, and then we will twirl this till it gets down to the bottom. This bit's a bit annoying, but like I said, mine's a cheapy one. So, you know, if you had an expensive one, it would probably be easier. But, you know, this cost me, I think, maybe 20 bucks or something like that. Not much at all. So, anyway, it's very cheap. So, we will just keep going to the very end. So it takes very long, doesn't it? But we need to be able to, you know, pop it onto here. So then we're literally going to be popping that, if you can see on there. And just screw that tight. And then we've got this handle, so we're going to be twirling that. So we just literally twirl it, and if you can see me twirling it, can you see that little tiny piece? And then that is going to be my pumpkin. And so we'll pop this down here now, and we'll take this little piece off that you can see here. And then if you get one of these, and we're just going to hold it onto here.
swirl it around like this, like so. You see how it becomes that, and then we will pull it off. And then, how cute is that? See how it's going to become my little pumpkin, and then it will kind of sit like that, which it's going to be its little leaf. And I will actually be piping something on later. So anyway, that's the start of what we're going to do, and we'll keep going with this. And then, yeah, we'll just pop it down so that you can, and then it will dry out, so we're just going to leave it. That's it. Then we will go again. Pop it into here. Just hold it really gently. You do need to be real gentle. And just get that and slide it off. Alright, on to the second part of the top of the soap. So this particular bit we're doing here is we're going to be making a really sweet little garden gate for our fairies to go through. So I found this really good mould. This mould I got from a place called Dream Cake. I will actually put down all the links for you down below. So once again, I'm using some soap dough. So I just have some, I've mixed some brown and some white that I had together to create this light sort of brown. It does have a bit of a red tinge, I guess, like a mahogany type looking door. And then all I'm going to be doing is placing it in the mould. So I'm showing you the first way first, so you can actually place it in the mould and then just get a tool to sort of slide any edges off. The only thing with doing this is it will make the garden gate look really, really slim, or you can pack it up a bit, which I do later. I decided to pack it up to make it a bit stronger, you know, for the top of the soap. So you can see here that I've done them all up here, and then all I'm going to be doing now is, you know, sort of just dusting everything off, because they are quite, you know, got all the little dust off. And then all I'm doing is I've got like a darker colour, and then I'm just sliding across the door, you know, rubbing it gently across the door just to add a bit of colour to the door, because if it was a fairy's garden it would have sort of dust and you know, be a bit sort of worn looking. So that's what I'm doing. And then I've also mixed up some isopropyl and rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to be painting all the latches onto the door. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I really do like to do this detail, and people that buy my soap do actually buy it because of this really beautiful detail on it. So I'm sure you can see how cute they look. And then I've also made these little tumbleweeds, and all it is I've once again used the extruder tool, and I've just used that really thin vine, and then I've wrapped them all up together, you know, all those little tiny bits together make like a little tumbleweed. So I'll keep going here, and I'll paint the rest of the little doors so that you can see exactly what I'm doing here, and hopefully you think it's as gorgeous as I do. And my daughter Emily, who absolutely loves
fairy. She is 22 now, but she still loves fairies and adventures, and I'm definitely going to give her one of these because she will just absolutely love it. So anyway, I'll let you keep watching and I'll come back in a moment. Finished making all of the embeds for the top of the soap, so now I'll get on to making the soap. So I'll be back in a minute and I'll show you exactly the next step of how I'm going to make the soap and make a tree come through the middle of my soap, because that's my whole idea. We'll see how well it turns out. I always have these crazy ideas, but they do look really beautiful when we're finished. Anyway, I'll be back in a moment and we'll make the tree stump to go through the soap. So on to the next step. So now for this one, we're making the tree that's going to go in the middle of our main soap. So what we actually need to do for this is we need to literally make a soap loaf just in browns, because then we're going to divide it and we can shape it later on. So this is the easiest way. Unfortunately, once I added in the fragrance, which was a mango fragrance, this just went absolutely crazy. So and it's gone thick and just, you know, very messy. So I'm having to quickly get it into here and then pour it into the mold. It really won't matter because all we want is the tree, and we want it in just different blacks, browns and creams, just to sort of give that real, you know, wooden kind of look, because if I just did it in brown, it would look really boring and it wouldn't be exciting at all. But these colors mixed together will still come out really nice in the mold. So I'm still going to go back and forward doing a feathering kind of look, even though it will not look feathered because of this, you know, crazy thickening up of this. But anyone that makes soap knows that this happens. It doesn't happen to me very often, thank goodness, but this one just accelerated absolutely crazy, and I just had to get it into the mold as soon as I possibly could. And you can see me here, I'm just literally going back and forward. If it was nice and silky, I'd be able to get sort of a knotted look into the wood, but unfortunately I can't. But that's okay, it doesn't matter. It will still come out really good, and I'll bring you back tomorrow to show you me cutting it and how I'm going to actually sculpt it to make it look like a tree. And then we'll be able to finish off this soap and pop all the embeds that we've made on top, and you know, and of course the tree stump, which will go through the middle, which will be our little fairies tree stump to the top. Anyway, I will come back tomorrow with the rest of it. Thanks for listening for now, but like I said, tomorrow I'll come back and I'll show you me popping it all together. Well, it's the next day now and I've already taken it out of the mold. So this is the tree stump we were doing yesterday. So as you can see on the inside, there's some really gorgeous colours in there, and I'm sure this is going to look like a beautiful tree stump once it's all cut. So I've sliced the loaf in half, and my whole idea for that is so that one can go in one loaf and one can go in the other. So that way I'll be able to make 2 loaves of this fairy garden, because I'm sure that this one's going to be quite popular. I have lots of people that actually collect my soap. They don't use it, they just collect it, which is really rather sweet that they feel that it's that arty. So I actually think that's so nice. So all I'm doing now is I've just got like a little resin stick. This is actually one you buy just at a cake
decorating place, and all I'm doing is just sort of sketching in what I would think would look like the tree stump, and then you just need to carve a little bit out of this this log, because otherwise it just looks like a rectangle. So we want to give it a little bit of shape, so we're just going to have to cut a little bit of sort of a half moon out of each side of it, and that way it should hopefully look more like a tree stump inside our soap. And then we'll put some greenery and so on in. So I'll let you watch me carve all this out, and then I'll be back soon. So now I'm making another batch of soap. I thought that I would just pop it all in here so that you don't have to watch me melt down the oils and so on. So all I'm doing is giving it a quick blend up, and then I'm going to be dividing this into several colours. So we have the tree stump that is in the middle of our soap loaf, and what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to be adding in some colours in piping, and that way those colours will represent flowers that would be around the tree, and of course some greenery that also is going to be our grass and so on. So I've decided to use the fragrance Peony, and it's Peony Rose. The reason I'm using it is it's pretty good in cold processed soap. It doesn't discolour, it holds the scent really well, and on top of that it doesn't accelerate too much. It does accelerate a tiny bit, but considering it's a floral, it's really good, because florals do have a really bad tendency to accelerate fast and move everything along too fast. So I'll separate into my colours. You can watch me do that little bit there, and I'll come back and I'll explain what I've done. So the colours that I'm adding here are mostly from Sud Off. The darkest green is actually from Aussie Candles, and that one is called Forest Green. And then I do have a mica that's called Deep Pink from Sud Off. Another one is called Dream Pink, also from Sud Off. And the third one is Spring Fling, and that is from Sud Off as well. And then that's the light baby green. So they're beautiful colours, and I'm sure that they're going to work really, really well in this soap. So I'm really excited actually to see it come together and be able to cut it, because I actually was dreaming about this soap, funny enough. So for the bottom of the grass, all I'm going to do is keep just coordinating the light green and dark green. I'm just randomly popping them in one at a time, and that way when I actually pop it through, it will just look like those kind of crazy colors of the grass. You know, sometimes you have long bits that are dark and light bits that are light and so on. So I thought, yeah, it would just look really good. Rather than just having one plain green, it will give it a little bit of character to the soap. So when you're using a piece like I'm using for the stump, you do need something to ground it for it to sit on. So we're just going to pop the bottom, which is going to be our little green grass. And then what we're going to be doing is getting the little log that we've done and pop it in the middle. The reason that I like to use the logs and so on, or whatever I make, like the big embeds in the middle straight away, is they're a little bit soft. So it still does give me some room so that I can actually push some embeds in from the top later on. So I make sure mine are really soft, and my soap recipes aren't a super hard recipe anyway, because I do use a lot of olive oil and sweet almond oil and so on, which is a light kind of oil. So anyway, and now what I'm doing is just getting all my piping bags ready, because the colors in the pink and the purple are going to represent my flowers that would be around a fairy's tree, so that I'll actually pop them inside the soap. So to start with here, like I said, you can see that I've put the loaves inside with the grass at the bottom,
And then next I'm going to, in between those little gaps, I'm going just to do one line of purple and one line of pink. And like I said, that is going to represent my flowers. So how exciting, can't wait to see it. This soap is an honest labour of love, it really is, because I think this is about the 5th layer that I'm doing at the moment. So I've already done the other layer, like we said, with the piping and so on. So we've finished that, and then this is going to literally fill up the loaf mould because we need to fill this up. So I'm going to be doing a green and blue. The green would represent the grass and everything foresty, and then the blue is just going to represent the sky. But rather than separate them all, I'm going to just literally be popping them together and doing a bit of, in the pot swirl here. So I'm literally going to pour the blue straight into the green from high up, and that way it will go to the bottom and all around. I've only put a very small amount of the fragrance in it. I could have put a lot more, but I decided not to do that because if I do, it's just going to accelerate too fast for me. So, and I really wanted to be able to get it in down the sides here without it being too thick. So as you can see, I'm just popping it in as far to the top as I can go. And then once this is all in here, then I'm going to be adding some more onto the top. So we'll smooth this out. I'll set that aside, and then I'll organise my piping bags for my little flowers and so on that are going to be on the top. And of course my embeds will be pushed in there too. So now I just get all my piping bags ready. So I just have these little containers that I usually set the piping bags into, and I just have the pink that you can see here, which I think is called Dream Pink, and then of course I'm going to be popping in the deep purple color in the other one. And then all these are going to be doing is these are going to be my tiny little baby flowers that will be on top. I'm not going to be using a lot of this, but whatever I don't use, I will put aside and keep for soap dough for later on. And I always make sure I try and clean up as I'm going along, because otherwise it just gets crazy messy. And in the middle here, of course, I'm just going to be popping in the green, and then that's going to be my grass as well. And so I just clean everything up here, as you can see. And then I'm just going to do like a little bit of a rippled effect on one side with the spoon. You don't have to do this, but I just thought it gave it a bit of interest. And anyway, I ended up piping along there. But as well as that, it takes all the mess away from the edge and just makes it look nice and neat. And I'm really happy with the blue and the green color on top too. I'm glad I did add the blue just to make it a little bit different. So I'll let you watch as I pipe it all along here, and then I'll come back when we pop all the embeds in. So we've done all of the piping, as you can see here, with our grass, and so now we've set all that aside. We're going to just get the embeds that I've made a couple of days ago, and of course they're the little gates. So the gate's going to be the main part of the soap, and because the gate is quite big, you do want to push it in a bit, because if it's not pushed in, it will literally just snap off, especially if you're selling these and they're going in the mail. I do also tell my customers that, you know, we try our best to wrap them as well, but honestly, sometimes things will snap off. So let's keep putting in all of the embeds, and I'm really loving how this is looking. I'm really so happy with the gate, because I looked and looked and just could not find a mould that I really loved, but finally found this gorgeous little fairy one, and they worked out really well. I think it's really the perfect size as well. I did try, because there was one smaller, but the smaller one was just way too small for the pumpkin as well. And next time, if I can change something, I probably would have made my pumpkins a little smaller. I did actually think they were really small, but, you know, putting them on a soap, then you realise that, you know, they are too big, and you do need to really downsize a lot of things. But anyway, so I'm putting my pumpkins in, then I'm adding in the little tiny vines that I made as well, and then of course the little tumbleweed type sort of bush things that I made as well, and I do think it's really looking so sweet. The only thing that I didn't do on this video is add some biodegradable glitter, but I have definitely added that now, and I'm sure that you'll see tomorrow when we cut it, and I'm sure that you'll agree it looks absolutely beautiful. So I'll let you keep watching and watching the end, and then I'll come back soon for you. It will only be a few minutes with the cutting, but to me that will be tomorrow, and then of course the soap will be beautiful and ready. And of course it does need to cure, so we do give ours a 6-week cure time. So a lot of people do ask me, you know, they say on your website it says the 0 amount. So the reason, most of them will be shown on my account, my Shopify, I mean, as having them, you know, so you'll have the picture and everything. It just won't have the stock. It will say 0. So when they're cured, then that will sort of roll over to however many I have left. And usually it will be the start of the month when I sort of release things as well. But some things, when I release the mermaid, they do sell out the same day. So because do remember, I'm not also just selling on Shopify. I also go to markets and have people ring me up privately as well for orders. So yeah, but you know, Shopify is the main one that I tell everyone, please go to my website, which is hosted through them. And yeah, and that way you can see everything, and it gives you a good description, I think. But do send me a message if you have any questions about anything. You can message me through YouTube, and also you know, we're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the normal social medias. So if you'd like to follow us over there, do so. But for here, we are so grateful that you're here following us, watching our videos, and sharing our content. That's always lovely. Anyway, I'll let you watch the next step, and like I said, I'll be back tomorrow with the cut. Alright, so we're ready to make the cut. How exciting, I just can't wait for this bit. So I'm just going to do one log today, but of course you know that I do have 2. So we'll just cut off the first bit. I will have to cut the end off because obviously it's quite thick, as you can see here, and it looks really cute. I wish my tree, the stump that's in the middle, which is representing a fairy tree, I just wish that was more defined as a tree, kind of looking tree, because I kind of feel like it's not but you know, it was worth a go, wasn't it? And it still looks okay, I guess, but I'm just a bit of a perfectionist, so I would sort of like it just to look a little bit more like a tree. But it does look really cute, and the colours of the tree have definitely come through, which I'm sure you'll agree. But it really is a fun little soap, and I really do think lots of people are going to think it's just absolutely gorgeous, as I do. So anyway, I hope you love the cut, and I hope you've really enjoyed watching me. I know this has been a super duper long video, and I really do hope you have enjoyed watching the whole video. So I will be back again on the weekend for something a little bit special. I'm not sure what I'm going to be making for the next, but let's just wait and see. It will be my last addition to my fairy and make-believe. Once again, if you would like to subscribe, please do. If you have subscribed, thank you. You guys really have made my channel really boom. It is definitely coming along, and we have lots of subscribers and well over 1,000 hours watched. So that's really exciting, and we're very, very grateful for that. Anyway, we'll keep bringing you content, and I'm sure you'll love it. See you next time. Bye for now.